I will give you a snippet.
Yeah.
Okay, can you open it? Yeah, so you have to write some function. So it should be the output should be the 5 for both the case.
Output should be 5.
Yeah, in both of the case.
In both the cases, right?
Yeah, it for both the cases.
Hello. Yeah, it's done.
Okay. Can you explain the difference between set time interval and set timeout?
So the difference between set timeout and set interval is like, so set interval, what it will happen is we will call this function repeatedly after particular interval of time. Whereas for the set timeout, we will call this function after a period of time. So in set interval, we will call it repeatedly, whereas in set timeout, we will call after a particular interval of time. So that is the difference between set timeout and set interval.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many methods for the API?
There are 4 to 5 API methods, which includes this get method. Get method is used to receive the record from the server. Then there is a post method, which is used to send the data on the server. What it will do, it will create a new record on the server. Then there is a put method. So what put will do, it will update the record which is on the server. Patch is also used, like it is very similar to the put method. It is also used to like send the data so that it can update the record on the server. Then there is a delete method. What it will do, it will use to delete the record which is on the server. It will delete the record from the server. So if we want to delete the records from the server, then we will use delete method. So these are the 4 to 5 methods which I know.
Okay, so what are the difference between put and post?
So put method, it is used to update the record, whatever the record is on the server. So to update that existing record which is present on the server, then we use put method. The post method, it is used to send the data to create a particular record on the server. So that is the main difference.
Okay. Okay, so can you explain me some of the status code which we get from the API response?
So some status codes, it includes like 102, which will determine that there is no response available as of now, but server has received and it is processing the request. So this is 102, whereas there is a 200, which determines the status code as okay. What it tells, like it is used to determine that request has been succeeded. Then there is a 202 which accepts it, like the request has been received but it hasn't been completed, so that is 202. So there is a status code 300. The request, it tells that the request has more than one responses. 302 for found, 400 for bad request, 401 unauthorized, 404 not found. So these are the few status codes which I can think of as of now.
How many library you have used HTTP request?
The libraries I have used for the HTTP request is Axios and Fetch.
Okay, so how we use fetch? Like what response we get from the fetch library when we use?
Uh, with the help of this fetch method, it will return the promise.
Like for example, I have to handle the error. Okay, in the fetch. What do you do for that?
So for handling the error in fetch method, we can use the catch block, right? So we can use the catch block.
Okay. 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 So let's move to JavaScript part. How much you will rate yourself in JavaScript?
Around 8 out of 10.
Okay. 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 Fine. So first question is what are the difference between let and was?
So the difference between let and var is let. So where it is a function scope. Let is a block scope. Let it can't be redeclared, whereas var it can be redeclared. So these are the two main difference between var and let.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. So what is the hosting in JavaScript?
With hosting, what it does, it allows us to use the variables before declaration. So during the compile time, what it does, it put the declaration, whether it can be like variable declaration and function. It puts the declarations at top of the scope. So that is the concept of hosting.
Okay, okay. So, for example, I am using let and I am using before declaration.
For let it is not applicable hosting.
Okay, okay, fine. Can you explain me how JavaScript works in browser?
So the browser, every browser has a JavaScript engine. So in JavaScript engine, there are yeah. So there is a call stack and there is a heap. So heap, it will have the memory pool for storing all the objects, whereas uh, this the call stack, it is where all the code gets executed.
Do you know about event loop?
So mainly it is used for handling the asynchronous operations. So what happens? Also, there can be a blocking of the execution of code. So what it does, it checks for the pending events and executes the callback functions so that it remains. There is no blocking of the code. So to handle those code execution, this event loop is used in JavaScript.
Okay. What are the difference between synchronous and asynchronous?
So the difference between asynchronous and synchronous is like synchronous, the code execution, it gets executed like the statement get executed one after the another. So to move on to the next statement, the first statement gets must get executed before coming to the next statement. So that is a synchronous, whereas asynchronous, like it is independent of other tasks, so it can run simultaneously as well. So that is the main difference between synchronous and asynchronous.
Okay, no. For example, I have to make any synchronous task as asynchronous task as a synchronous. How will do that?
uh, if we want to make the asynchronous to synchronous, like we can do with the help of async await.
Okay. Okay, there is a term in JavaScript is a closure. What are the closures?
Yeah, so the closures, what it does, so there is a parent scope and there is a child scope. So there are two functions, inner function and outer function. So in a closure, the inner function can have access to the outer function variable. So that is the concept of the closure. So in short, what we can say, the function can have the access to the parent scope. That concept is known as closure.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. So what is a currying? Currying in
So it is one of the advanced technique to convert a function with multiple arguments into multiple function with single argument each. So that is nothing but a function curry.
okay. Okay. Uh, okay. Fine. Y- mm, 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 okay. Also, okay. One more question about the JavaScript.
Yeah.
Mm, what are the promises? How we use promises? Why we use? Sorry.
So promises, it allows us to handle the asynchronous operations. So when the it is useful when we want to manage the conditions where we want to wait for the outcome or the result of an operation. So at those time it is useful.
Okay. Fine. Okay. So okay. Okay. So let's move to React.js
Yeah.
and. What is like why? What is a virtual DOM in React.js?
So virtual DOM, it is a copy of the real DOM. So what it does, it will take the virtual DOM. So here the processing is faster in virtual DOM. Why? Because suppose there are number of lines of code and where a single line of code is changed, so it will only re-render. It will only render that line of code. Whereas in real DOM, it will render each and every line of code. So that's why the processing is faster in virtual DOM.
Okay, okay, fine. So, uh, can you give me an example how we can define a lifecycle method in function component?
Okay, so lifecycle method in functional components, how we will do with the help of use effect. So in mounting, what we will do, we will write the function and we will write the function uh, in mounting. Whereas in updating, we will write the function and the dependency. Suppose there is a dependency ABC, so function and dependency ABC. Then unmounting, we will write return method. So this is how we will define the use mount life cycle methods in functional components.
Okay, okay, fine. You how we define use effect in code?
How we define use effect is function. In use effect, there are two parameters: function and there is a dependency. So dependency, what it will tell, suppose there is a state ABC, and so what it will tell, at any time the ABC there is a change in ABC, it will get rendered. So in that time, what we will say, so at any time there will be a change in ABC, so the component will get mounted.
Okay, so what are the higher order function? Oh, sorry, higher order component in React.js?
Higher order components, it takes a component as an argument and returns a new component. For example, in the situation such as when we want to highlight or unhighlight the text, or when we want to expand the menu options, on those conditions we can use HOCs.
Okay, thank you. I'm done with the interview and I will share my feedback with HR.